You know what I used to think budgeting meant? A spreadsheet, lots of math, and never ever going out for coffee again. But the biggest mindset shift that I ever made with money came from one really simple idea. Give every dollar a job. And no, this isn't about micromanaging your money. It's about putting it to work for you. Let's jump in. Hey there, I'm Brett, and this is Pocket Changes, where we talk about real-life money, small steps, and shame-free spending plans. If you've ever felt like money just kind of disappears from your bank account, this video is for you. Today we're breaking down YNAB's method of give every dollar a job. What does it mean? How does it work? How can we apply it to our own lives? Now, before we go too far, I do want to let you know you don't need to be using YNAB software to be able to implement the ideas that we're talking about in today's video. It is the tool that I use personally and the one that I recommend for managing your money, but the principles that we'll talk about work no matter where you are or how you're tracking your money, be it another app, pen and paper, or a spreadsheet. So before we jump into the real meat and bones of this idea of give every dollar a job, we need to back up for just a second. Now, give every dollar a job is built on the idea of zero-based budgeting. And no, that doesn't mean that our bank account hits zero at the end of the month, because that sounds like a ton of stress and just absolute chaos. It means you take all of the money that you have right now across all of your bank accounts, not what's coming next week, not what's planned for your next paycheck. Every single dollar that you have right now, right this minute, and you give every single dollar a specific task. And we do this until we've assigned every single dollar a job, leaving unassigned dollars at zero, hence zero-based budgeting. By doing this, we know exactly what we need, what we have, and we know everything is planned for with every single dollar. Rent, it's covered. Groceries, done. Fun money, even that gets a job. So with this method, you're the boss in charge of your dollars, making sure every single dollar knows exactly what it's supposed to be doing for you, instead of letting your dollars kind of run amok, run around, and run right on out of your bank account without knowing what's happening. Now, most people, and when I say most people, recognize I'm talking about my own experience and probably a lot of yours as well. Most people tend to build their budget like this. I make $3,000. I think I'll probably spend about $1,200 on bills and rent, and maybe another $400 on groceries and $200 on eating out. So it should be okay to be able to book that plane ticket for the vacation that I'm wanting to take. And that's cool, but what if you don't get paid on time? What if you get sick and miss a day of work and now your paycheck is less than expected? What if the electric bill is twice as much as it normally is this month for some reason? What if we get invited to a surprise birthday party and now we have to pay for a gift and a meal that we didn't really plan on? And that's the problem with traditional budgeting. Traditional budgeting is a plan that's based on a lot of assumptions and kind of our best educated guess, right? But zero-based budgeting, what I'm talking about in this video, is a plan that's based off facts. It's a plan that's based off the dollars that you have in your bank account right now. We know we have it and we can plan on it. There's no forecasting, there's no hoping. It's just clear, honest planning. And the best part is that you can actually start using a zero-based budget today. You can do it right now. You don't need to wait until the first of the month. You just need to work with the money that you have in your accounts. Let's go ahead and jump in and talk about the specifics, the meat and bones of how we actually implement this idea of giving every dollar a job. The first step, you're going to go ahead and check your bank balance. Pull out your phone, log onto your computer, onto your banking app, and check how much do you have in your bank account. Make a list. If you have multiple accounts, you're going to make a list of every single account and the total of how much is in that account today. Total all of that up, and that is your starting number. That number is what you're going to use. So it's not your planned monthly income. It's not your projected next paycheck. Again, it's only what's actually in your bank account today at this very moment. Add all of that up. That's the number that we're starting with. So the next step is go ahead and make a list of your expenses, everything that happens monthly that you know of. And if it's something like electric that changes a little bit, do your best guess. Go ahead and write what it is, how much it costs, and also the date that it tends to come out of your account. Write as many of these as you can think of, be it gifts or groceries, rent, all of these things. Write the name of it, the amount, and the date. Once you have this written, go ahead and look over that list again, and we're going to reorder that list based off priority of what's going to happen between now and when we get paid next. We're not counting that money when we get paid next. We're not counting on that next paycheck. We're only trying to figure out what do we need to cover between today and when new money is going to come in. This is going to help us determine our priorities. So we're going to go ahead and rewrite that entire list of expenses based off of when we need to pay things next. Once you've created your list of expenses, we're on to the next step, and this is where the zero-based comes in. So you're not done until every single dollar is assigned. Again, it's not talking about spending money at all. We're creating a spending plan, right? So we're having everything planned out, every single dollar that we have, giving them a job. So in your list of expenses, you might have rent, for example. So go ahead and subtract the rent from the number that you totaled in that first step. So if you had $5,000 in all of your account and rent is $1,000, you have $4,000 left. Continue doing that with every single expense until you have zero. If you have money left over, put it towards some sort of savings goal, Christmas, gifts, vacation, anything that you want, but get that number to zero. Give every single dollar a job. And for the last step, we need to adjust when life happens. And this is ongoing, and it's so crucial to what we're talking about today. Because giving every single dollar a job doesn't mean that life stops being unpredictable. Instead, it simply means you're able to adapt, and you can now make conscious decisions about where that money is going to come from. We're going to talk about this more in a future video, but for a quick example, let's imagine that you've now made your entire spending plan in those first couple steps that we talked about, and now you get a flat tire. Life always loves to happen once we make a plan, right? Well, now we can go ahead and look at that entire spending plan, and we might have set money aside for a vacation next year that we don't need to spend right now. But this tire issue, that's a right now problem. So we can go ahead and take money that was given the job originally as vacation 2026, and we can move it to a new car maintenance fund. We can move that money, we're able to pay for today's tire and move on. And so with this job reassignment within our budget, within our spending plan, it's normal, it's expected, and it's really easy to do once we have a plan. We know that by using next year's vacation money, we're gonna have a lot of time to be able to resave that up. But we also know that by paying for that today, by moving that money, reassigning those dollars jobs over to car maintenance, we know that the money that we've set aside for rent hasn't been touched. We're able to trust our spending plan and be able to spend with confidence, which is a really important part. And the beauty of this is once new money comes in, once we finally get that new paycheck deposited into our account, it's real money now, it's not next week's money. Once we have that money come in, we start the process again and we give every single one of those new dollars a job. That money is assigned to our ready to assign category, and we're able to actually put it into all of our categories, thinking through what does this money need to do before new money hits. And this can be with a paycheck, when a friend Venmos you, or $20 that you find off the street. We continue to assign every single dollar a job until we've reached zero once again. Okay, let's pause here for a second, because this isn't simply a budgeting trick or a budgeting hack, right? This is a full-on mindset shift, and it deserves more than a drive-by mention. If you're used to checking your bank balance before you spend, and the conversation usually goes, well, there's still some money in there, so I guess I'm good, then changing to a zero-based budgeting system is going to feel really weird at first. And I just want to remind you, you're not broken, you're not bad with money, you're just learning an entirely new way of thinking. And that takes time and practice. Many of us were never taught to manage money. It's a reality. We were told to save, we were told to spend wisely, we were told to make a budget, whatever that means, and somehow be prepared for every single expense, whether it was planned or not. And that, in the end, it's not a system, that's a stress response. By giving every dollar a job, we're flipping that idea on its head. We're saying, hey money, I'm the one in charge. You don't get to head out of my bank account without telling me where you are going. But here's the tricky part. This approach forces you to be honest with yourself, and this is where it gets real. It forces us to be honest with ourselves about what we can afford to do right now, about what matters most, and whether our money is doing what we truly want it to do. And that honesty can be super uncomfortable. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, because maybe your money isn't doing what you want. Maybe your current income isn't stretching as far as you need it to. Maybe you're not quite as close to your goals as you thought you would be. But that discomfort, it's not failure. I want to highlight that right away. It's not failure, it's clarity. And clarity is the foundation of confidence with money. Sit with that for a second. That discomfort is not failure, it's clarity. Once you name your priorities and align your spending with those values, your spending plan stops feeling like a punishment and starts feeling like a tool for freedom. Now, with this, you're not randomly saying no to things that you enjoy in hopes that you'll be closer to some vague savings goal because the budget says so. Instead, you're learning how to say yes to the things that you actually care about, that you're prioritizing in your spending plan, and the things that actually matter to you most. That's powerful. And maybe, just maybe, you'll start sleeping a little bit better at night. Not because you're rich and all your money problems and doubts went away overnight, but because you have a plan and that plan aligns with your values. And if you're wondering how to actually do this in a way that's easy to manage, YNAB is the tool that I recommend and that I use personally. It's built around this methodology of giving every single dollar a job, and it does the heavy lifting for you. Every single time you spend, you can register the expense or the purchase and the category that it comes from, for example, groceries. And as you do this, YNAB is automatically going to subtract what was spent from the dollars assigned to that job. And you can always refer to the app to be able to know how much money you have left in that category assigned for that job before you go. So before you go into the grocery store, you can check on the app and see how much money you have left to spend on groceries this month and be able to make conscious spending decisions before you're at the register. I want to reiterate, you don't have to use the app to be able to do this. Don't feel like this is a sales pitch. I love YNAB. If you want to use it, I highly recommend it, but you can do this with a pen and paper, with a spreadsheet, a notebook, a physical cash envelope system, whatever works for you. The method is so much more important than the system that you choose. Choose what works. So, if you're tired of feeling like all of your money controls you instead of the other way around, you can go ahead and start implementing a zero-based budget today. Look at all of the dollars in your bank account and start giving them jobs. And if you want some additional support or you're curious how to make this method stick, whether in YNAB or something else, I'd love to walk with you. You can go ahead and check out in the description down below and learn more about my coaching services or my referral link to use YNAB free for 34 days. If you choose to use my link for YNAB and you stick with it after the trial, you'll get an extra month added to your subscription. Well, that's it for this week. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and give the video a like, go ahead and subscribe, and drop a comment letting me know what job your next dollar is going to get. Until next time, spend with intention, and I'll catch you in the next video.